Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies coming at you with more Kill Team goodness. So obviously Games Workshop very kindly sent me out the new Kill Team Termination box set, and last week I gave you part one of the series on this particular box set, which was to paint up the Brood Brother from that box set with the icon. I did it as a traitor Cadian, so he had Cadian fatigues, Cadian symbols all crossed off with all the nasty Genestealer cult hybrid stuff on it, and then obviously the Genestealer cult hybrid head and weapons and accoutrement and all those other good bits. In today's video I'm going to show you guys how to paint up the awesome new Leagues of Votann kill team that you get in this box set as well. If there is demand, I will do a third video on the scenery piece as well, but you guys can let me know down below. I'm not sure if people really want that a lot, but I've done wrong before, so perhaps you guys do. If you do, please do let me know. Before I jump into this video, a huge thank you for all of you guys' continued support with me on the channel. My subscribers go up, the views go up, everything is just doing really well. I'm really thankful for you guys to be here with me on this journey and watching along. A special thanks, of course, goes out to my patrons. These guys actually pay the bills, keep the lights on, the cameras rolling, so thank you so much for that. I literally could not do that without you guys. If anyone is interested in getting involved with it themselves, it's linked down in the description below. There's a bunch of benefits you get, like access to a private Discord server where you can chat with me daily about your hobby and other good stuff like that. And also you get access to an extra vlog style video every single day from me posted over on the Patreon. So if that's something that interests you, check it out. Okay, without further ado, let's jump in and get this League of Votann painted. And this is the Space Cowboy, League of Votann that I've decided to paint for today's video. He is wearing a duster jacket and wielding dual revolvers. If you see him as anything other than a space cowboy, then you're a madman. I decided to leave off his backpack because once again it ruined that silhouette for me of a space cowboy. And I just couldn't have that. So yeah, simple as. Now, I'm going to be blending this guy into my standard Leagues of Votann army, the red color scheme that I can never remember the name of. It's like I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. It drives me insane. It's one of those names of a thing that just won't stay in my brain. But I have an entire army painted in that color scheme, so you'd think I'd learn how to say it. It's a very simple scheme, and it gives you really nice results. So it starts with, obviously, the Thunderhawk Blue across the fatigues. Then we jump up to Blood Angel's red contrast for all of the armor panels. Now, of course, pretty much every other League of Votann miniature out there has more armor on it than these guys. These are, Kill Team Warband Explorers or Scavengers or whatever you want to call them. So they're not quite prepared for war. They're ready to defend themselves, but they're more about scavenging and looting and stuff like that. So he does have a little bit of armor up and around his chest. He is wearing his knee pads. I did think that the armored panels above his shoulder were armor, but they're not. They're just part of his big leather jacket. So with that, I didn't think there was quite enough red on it, and I didn't realize it at this point in the painting video, so you will just see it happen a little bit later magically, that the casings of both his pistols will suddenly become red because of movie magic. But yeah, it will be done with the Blood Angel's red contrast whenever you do remember to do that. Black Templar's contrast was then used for his boots. And then they wanted me to do the holsters for his pistols in brown. But I thought because there's going to be so much brown on the jacket, I decided not to do that. So I'm going to go for black leather holsters for his pistols on the front as well, which I think was the right choice. I think it breaks up all the different colors quite nicely, and it's quite a simple step to do. Now it's time to figure out what to do with the jacket. So I've been going more and more to the Garaghak sewer paint. It's just a really good dark brown contrast, really rich. What you layer off of it though is still not the easiest thing in the world. There's so many brown contrasts, and they're so good. They're like, I literally can find uses for pretty much all of them. But what the mid-tone and highlight should be for each and every one, I'm still not 100% sure on. Sometimes I still do get stuck. And unfortunately, in this particular case, I did have to break my cardinal rule and mix paints to layer up the jacket, which I do not like doing. I like keeping it as simple as possible so everyone at home can follow along and they don't have to try and worry about 2 parts this to 3 parts that or any of that jazz. Guilliman Flesh was used for his face, and I've decided that he's wearing gloves. Whether he's wearing gloves or not, I'm not 100% sure, but I decided he was wearing gloves, so they got the Thunderhawk Blue treatment, and then the red armor panels on the backs of the knuckles and stuff like that. So it's literally just his face. As for what color his hair is, I was going to go through that as well, and I kind of like the white color scheme. It reminds me of that awesome Colonel guy from Avatar. He's in a bunch of other movies. He's a really cool actor. He always plays the guy who's hard as nails, and this guy reminds me of him, so I'm going to go with that. Leadbelcher now for all of the silver details. Obviously his belt buckle, a huge portion of the pistols, and any other little bits and trims and buckles and stuff that you can find for holsters or his jacket or anything like that. You can see now that the casings on his pistols are now, of course, red as well. Movie magic. Glorious. Taking my time with the silver because obviously most of the other base coats are already on. And we don't want to be hitting any of those parts that were not supposed to be silver. And obviously don't forget the zip as well for the front of his kind of hazmat-y suit thing. We're getting there. Base coats are nearly all on. Going to jump up to Retributor Armour Gold. And this is for all of the kind of dwarven symbols that exist both in his pistol holsters and the pistols themselves. These are also usually festooned around kind of shoulder pads or big headdresses and stuff like that. Some of the other parts across the League of Votann. I've already got about 10 how-to paints for League of Votann, so you can go and check that out for all the other bits and pieces if you're wanting to do an entire army base in this scheme. I've got you covered, including all the vehicles and everything like that as well. Okay, with all of these colors on, I feel like we're in a really nice position to shade it, and that's where we're going to reach for our Reikland Fleshshade. You may think I'm insane. Why in God's name would you choose a skin tone shade to put across this miniature? But remember, a skin tone shade is actually just a really kind of warm, reddy brown. So it will work really well over the reds and the browns. It's not the best thing over the silver and the blue, but it's passable. It does a good job. When you layer it up, you don't notice anything wrong with it. And I'm always for kind of a one all over shade for a miniature. It helps protect the contrast, almost acts like a varnishing stage, because contrast is actually quite a weak paint. And that if you like rubbed your thumb across the edges of the painted pistol or anything like that, it will actually wipe off and go back to kind of the primer, which is not what you want. Whereas if you apply an all over shade, that doesn't happen. Once that shade is fully dried, it's time to start layering. So we're going to start with Mephiston Red and just do a nice layer job all across the red parts of the miniature. That is, of course, all the armor panels and the casing of the gun. If you're wondering why I have the Mephiston Red Air, and you will also see the Evil Sun Scarlet air paint that I'm going to use to highlight this color again. They're just basically pre-thinned paints. The air paints are great for that, especially the darker tones. It's not going to work so much on the whites or the yellows or oranges or anything like that. But reds, colors with a lot of pigment like that, they're unbelievable for being used as like straight up layer paints that are just pre-thinned. You go straight from pot to palette to model, ready to go. They're so good. As you can see, I'm being careful to highlight all these different parts, as these are kind of like really key features of miniature, the armor, and of course his dual wielding revolver pistol thingies. I'm sure they have a really cool name, and once again, it's another thing I should learn. Evil Sunz Scarlet is then, like I said, the highlight color for all of the red, and as you can see, it is the air paint once again. It's just going to add that really nice kind of punchy pop to the armor color. It's the same kind of set that I used for all of my other Leagues of Votann, and I'm really happy with how that army turned out. This is where you really do take your time. Less is kind of more. You're just looking for the highest points, sharpest details to hit with this red to give it that kind of highlight stage and not worry too much about any of the other parts. This is the kind of stage of painting that I really do enjoy. I get the most satisfaction from getting nice clean coats of paint on the last kind of highlight stages of miniatures and making it all kind of poppy and look really cool. Nice bright vibrant armor. Nice. Now it's time to do something with the fatigue. So for that, we're just going to go one coat Thunderhawk Blue. Now you may ask yourself, why do you do multiple highlights on some parts of a miniature and not on other parts of the model? And that's fine to ask. Basically, although this is kind of quite a large portion of the miniature, it's quite a lot of the jump suit, you get it down his legs and everything like that. It's not a key feature. When somebody picks up this miniature, they're not going to say, oh my god, his jumpsuit is so cool. They're going to focus on key areas. That will be, of course, his weapons, his armor, maybe not even the brown duster jacket. That may be something that falls by the wayside, but I could be wrong, so I am going to give that the 2 highlights, and things like his face. What his boots are like, what his fatigues are like, what his holsters are like. Belt buckle, nobody cares. Nobody even pays attention to them. So I like to give them a single highlight, make sure I put in the work and make sure they look a little bit nice, but you don't need to go crazy. Here's what I was talking about before. I've got Catachan Flesh and Mournfang Brown. These are going to be the 2 paints that I mixed together, 50-50. And I'm going to use this as the first highlight of the jacket. As you can see, I'm just hitting the raised areas, making sure that the shaded parts, so all the bits that are really dark, where the contrast and the Reikland Fleshshade have settled the most, are going to stay nice and dark. I'm not going to highlight them at all. Then kind of all the rest of the jacket, following the folds, making sure we get the highest points, are going to get highlighted with that mix of 50-50 Mournfang and Catachan Flesh and try and make the jacket pop a little bit. Like I said, I still think it's a background part of the miniature. I think when you look at it, you don't initially start focusing on the duster jacket. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can tell me in the comments whether you think it is a standout feature of the miniature or whether it's something you can just leave behind. But like I said, just in case it is, I am going to go back to just a pure Mournfang now. And that will go for the final highlight. Much kind of less coverage, just much, once again, sharper, highest points. Just to make the brown pop a little bit more and stand out a little bit. Very quick stage, but I think it looks nice. I'm happy that I did it. I'd be happy enough to do it on the other 9 members of this squad and make it stand out. We are now kind of into the kind of closing stages of this miniature. We have the armor pretty much finished. We have the fatigues done. We have his jacket pretty much done after this stage. We just have things like metallics, his face, and some of the holsters, like the black on his holsters and stuff like that to do. So for that, we're going to jump up to our Corvus Black. Corvus Black has been my go-to to highlight black for years now. It is just black, already mixed in with a touch of grey, and it works as a perfect natural highlight to Abaddon Black, or black contrast that you've put on the miniature already. It jumps out, it shows up as a highlight, but still registers as black. I think it's phenomenal. If you don't have it in your painting arsenal, I thoroughly recommend you pick it up. With this, I'm of course going to tidy up any of the overspill with the gold that we did when we applied that. Obviously, it's a sunken in area of the miniature. And I had watered down the gold a little bit too much, so it flowed a little bit unsteadily into places where it shouldn't have. So with that stage, I got to neaten it up nicely. And of course, got his belt buckle and his boots and all that. Leadbelcher was then brought in to highlight all the metallics. That's silvers and gold. For the gold, it's just a light touch highlight in the sharper corners, just to make those details pop. And then obviously with the pistols and stuff like that, it's a general highlight. And the zip going down the middle of his fatigues as well, get a highlight with that. Once again, nothing crazy, just a very quick stage, just to make the metallics look like you spent some time on them, even if you haven't. This is a very nice Kill Team box set. I did quite enjoy painting up the Blood Brother, or the Brood Brother. Sorry, I got Blood Brother mixed up so much. And I'm definitely keen to paint up some more and get some more. Another squad of 10 Votann added to my force is something that I can't be upset about. This is the second Votann unit that I'm after getting from a Kill Team set, so who am I to argue? Okay, some highlights. We started with Cadian Flesh, and we gave a quick highlight to the skin. Now, a stage that I did not show off is I did water down a little bit of Berserker Bloodshade and put it over the skin. Just add a little bit of warmth to it again, a little bit of rosiness. And then after that, we go with Kislev Flesh for the final highlight. Tips of nose, tops of cheeks, top of eyebrow, that kind of thing. You don't have to go crazy. You're not looking for lots of coverage. Just really small kind of touch highlights once again, just to make that face pop. And then after that, we're going to go for our trusty Pallid Witch Flesh. And we're going to use that to paint in the hair, which, like I said, we're going to leave that kind of grey and white. And Pallid Witch Flesh is a great colour for that. It's somewhere between kind of a chalky white and not quite a cream, or it's just really nice. It makes a great color for stuff like this. While I had it on my palette, I also threw that on the glowing gem in the middle of his chest. And then when that was dry, I threw Talazar Blue over that gem as well to give it the glowing appearance. Same thing I did with all the rest of my Leagues of Votann. And that gave me my finished Kill Team member for my Leagues of Votann. I mean, he's a really nice brown coat. I mean, a brown coat, that'd be a cool name for an army or a force or something. Oh well. Yeah, loved how he turned out. Can't wait to paint the rest. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, let me know. Okay guys, and there we have it. I couldn't really help myself. I had to do him as a gunslinger. Anything that is in any way remotely related to cowboys, I will do. So I left off his backpack just so his big duster would look more kind of epic. Dual wielding his pistols. I love him, so cool. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, learned a little bit more about painting the Leagues of Votann for the new Kill Team box set, and you just enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give the video a like, ask me any questions you want in the comments below, including letting me know whether you want to see the scenery from this box set done as its solo video. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel to help it grow, reach more people, more audiences, and so you don't miss out on all future uploads. Make sure you check out the Patreon if that's something you're interested in. Other than that, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.